Lord, I'm actually going to start reading out my statement in my photo album.
Exhibit triple B1.
I'm going to start at paragraph 6, my Lord.
It's so because the records got captured.
Paragraph 6. During the course of my official duties on the 27th of January 2015, I was requested.
What's the objection to reading this statement?
No, not all.
It was kind of things before the
I was requested by Detective Colonel Beneke, attached to the Stellenbosch Detective Unit, to attend a crime scene at 12 Gosker Street, the Salsa Golf Estate, Stellenbosch, for the detection and identification of possible blood and blood-stained patterns. Paragraph 7. On the 27th of January 2015, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the crime scene was indicated to me by Captain Dani van der Westhuizen, attached to the Provincial Task Team, Cape Town, at 12 Gosker Street, the Salsa Golf Estate, Stellenbosch. On the 27th of January 2015, I was requested by Detective Colonel Beneke, attached to the Stellenbosch Detective Unit, to also provide a report pertaining to possible blood and blood stains identified at 12 Gosker Street, the Salsa Golf Estate, Stellenbosch. Paragraph 8. I have made the following assumptions in compiling this report. That all the reddish-brown fluid and staining depicted in photographs has the appearance, behavior and context consistent with blood and will therefore be referred to as blood for the purpose of this report. Bloodstains depicted in photographs represent all the significant bloodstains associated with the event or events surrounding the incident. That all the bloodstains observed and commented on were deposited essentially contemporaneously to the events and surrounding the incident. All bloodstains and bloodstain patterns observed against bedroom wall, beds and floor of Rudy and Henry van Breda belongs to the victims of Martin and Rudy van Breda. Paragraph 9. During the course of my official duties on the 27th of January 2015, after making my own observations, I marked, identified, classified bloodstains and bloodstain patterns within the crimes in the 12 Gosker Street to Salsa Golf Estate. I documented the bloodstains and bloodstain patterns by means of photograph and rough sketches with measurements for my report. I requested Sergeant Hitchcock from the Boland Task Team in Worcester to document the identified, classified bloodstains and bloodstain patterns and to collect representative samples of the identified, classified bloodstains and bloodstain patterns as primary crime scene technician responsible for the documentation of the crime scene. Paragraph 10. Interpretation of bloodstains and bloodstain patterns. During January 2015 to the 30th of January 2015, the following bloodstains and bloodstain patterns were identified at 12 Gosker Street, the Salsa Golf Estate, Stellenbosch. Point 1 on photos 1 and 2 of Annexure A. Non-spatter bloodstain is observed on tile floor at front door entrance of house. The non-spatter bloodstain is described as a regular shaped bloodstain with no recognizable pattern in bloodstain. The bloodstain is further classified as a transfer bloodstain. The bloodstain identified suggests contact as the possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 2. The bloodstain was probably created as a result of contact between a bloodstained object and the tile floor at front door entrance of house, resulting in blood being transferred from the object onto the tile floor. The bloodstain was marked for identification and documentation as B1 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. Point B2 on photographs 1 and 3, Annexure A, non-spatter bloodstain is observed on tiled floor at front door entrance of house. The non-spatter bloodstain is described as a regular shaped bloodstain with no recognizable pattern in the bloodstain. The bloodstain is further classified as a transfer bloodstain. The bloodstain identified suggests contact as the possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 3. The bloodstain was probably created as a result of contact between a bloodstain object and a tiled floor in front of the door entrance of house, resulting in blood being transferred from the object onto the tile floor. The bloodstain was marked for identification and documentation as B2 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. Point B3 at photographs 1, 4 and 5 annexure A. Non-spatter bloodstain observed on tiled floor at front door entrance of house. The bloodstain is described as a regular shaped bloodstain indicating recognizable characteristics and partial image of the source object which created the non-spatter bloodstain observed. The non-spatter bloodstain is further classified as a pattern formstain. The bloodstain identified suggests contact as a possible deposition mechanism. See photographs. The bloodstain was probably created as a result of contact between a bloodstained blanket from EMS, Emergency Medical Services, and the tiled floor at the front door entrance of house, resulting in blood being transferred from the blanket into the tile floor. The bloodstain was marked for identification and documentation as B3 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. Point B4, photographs 6 to 10, annexure A. Non-spatter bloodstain observed on carpet in front of staircase leading to the bedrooms on the first floor of house. The bloodstain is described as a bloodstain with volume accumulation, irregular margin, and randomly distributed spattered blood drops around margin. The non-spatter bloodstain is further classified as a drip pattern. The bloodstain suggests gravity as the possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 6 to 10. The bloodstain was probably created as a result of blood and blood plasma dripping from the first floor onto the carpet on the ground floor, creating the bloodstain observed. The bloodstain was marked for identification and documentation as B4 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. Point B5 on photos 11 and 12, annexure A. Spatter bloodstain observed on kitchen door of house. The bloodstain is described as an elliptical shaped bloodstain with volume. The bloodstain is 575 millimeters from the floor surface. While it's not possible to define exactly the mechanism responsible for the deposition, the bloodstain as a possible deposition mechanism. The bloodstain was marked for identification as B5 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. No DNA could be obtained from the sample collected. Points B6A to B6G on photos 13 to 37 of annexure A. Spatter bloodstains observed on the staircase. Spatter bloodstain described as circular shaped blood drops with a linear orientation. The spatter bloodstains are further classified as a drip trail. The bloodstains identified suggest gravity as the possible deposition mechanism. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of blood dripping from a source in motion, perpendicular to and above the stairs of the staircase. The bloodstains were marked for identification and documentation as B6A to B6G and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. No DNA could be obtained from the sample collected at B6C. Point 7 on photos 37 to 41, annexure A. Non-spatter bloodstain observed on back posterior of the right leg of victim Teresa van Breda. The bloodstain is described as a bloodstain with volume accumulation, irregular margin, and randomly distributed spatter blood drops around margin. The non-spatter bloodstain is classified as a drip pattern. The bloodstain identified suggests gravity as a possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 41. The bloodstain was probably which resulted in the creation of the bloodstain observed. The bloodstain was marked for identification and documentation as B7 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. B8, photos 37 to 40 and 42 of Annexure A. Spattered bloodstains observed on the buttocks area of the victim, Teresa van Breda. Spattered bloodstain described as circular shaped blood drops with a linear orientation. The spattered bloodstains are further classified as a drip trail. The bloodstains identified suggest gravity as a possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 42. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of blood dripping from a moving object perpendicular to and above the buttocks area of the victim, Teresa van Breda. The bloodstains were marked for identification and documentation.
So you didn't read the end of that sentence. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of blood dripping from a moving object perpendicular to and above the buttocks area of the victim, Teresa van Breda. So
missed that. The bloodstains were marked for identification and documentation as B8 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. Point B9 of photos 43 to 45 of Annexure A. Non-spatter bloodstains observed on the tile floor of first floor passageway of house. The bloodstains are described as irregular shaped bloodstains indicating recognizable characteristics and partial image of the source object which created the non-spatter bloodstains observed. The non-spatter bloodstains are further classified as pattern transfers. The bloodstains identified suggest contact as a possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 44. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of contact between a bloodstained EMS stretcher and a tiled floor, resulting in blood being transferred between the two surfaces. The bloodstains were marked for identification and documentation as B9 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. Points B10A to B10F on photographs 45 to 51 of Annexure A. Spatter bloodstains observed on the tile floor of first floor passageway of the house. The spatter bloodstains are described as circular shaped blood drops with linear orientation. The spatter bloodstains are further classified as a drip trail. The bloodstains identified suggest gravity as the possible deposition mechanism. See photographs 46 to 51. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of blood dripping from a moving object perpendicular to and above the tile floor. The bloodstains were marked for identification and documentation as B10A to B10F and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of B10C is Teresa van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto DNA report of 29 of May 2015, paragraph 4.1.5 refers. B11, point B11 on photographs 43, 52 to 54 and 61, Annexure A. Spatter bloodstains are observed on the front aspect of cabinet located in a passageway on the first floor of house. The spatter bloodstains are described as elliptical shaped bloodstains with a radiating distribution pattern. The spatter bloodstains are further classified as an impact spatter pattern. The average impact angles of 6 individual well-defined spatter bloodstains within the impact spatter pattern is 24.56 degrees. The bloodstains are 690 millimeters from the floor surface. The bloodstains identified suggest impact as the possible deposition. As a result of force applied to a blood source, resulting in a breakup of blood into small droplets traveling through the air and impacting with the cabinet. The impact angle and directionality of the spatter suggests that the blood source was close to the floor and to the left of the impact spatter pattern when force was applied to a blood source. The bloodstains were marked for identification as B11 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of these bloodstains are Teresa van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto's DNA report of 15 April 2015, paragraph 4.1.7 refers. Point B12 of photos 40, 43, 52, 53, 55 to 57 and 61 Annexure A. Non-spatter bloodstains are observed on the frontal aspect of the cabinet located in a passageway on the first floor of house. The non-spatter bloodstains are described as irregular shaped bloodstains and no recognizable pattern in the bloodstains and with lateral movement visible within the bloodstains. The non-spatter bloodstains are further classified as swipe patterns. The bloodstains are 412 millimeters from the floor surface. The bloodstains identified suggest contact as possible deposition mechanism. See photographs 56 and 57. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of contact between a bloodstained object or objects and the surface of the cabinet. The bloodstains were marked for identification as B12 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of the bloodstains is Marley van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto, DNA report of 29 May 2015, paragraph 4.1.7 refers. Point B13 on photos 43, 52, 53, 55, 58 and 61, Annexure A. Non-spatter bloodstain is observed in cabinet located in passageway of first floor of house. The non-spatter bloodstain is described as an irregular shaped bloodstain, no recognizable pattern in the bloodstain with lateral movement visible within the bloodstain. The non-spatter bloodstain is further classified as a swipe pattern. The bloodstain is 790 millimeters from the floor surface. The bloodstain identified suggests contact as a possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 58. The bloodstain was most probably created by bloodstained fingertips of previous personnel giving medical assistance to the victim. The bloodstain was marked for identification as B13 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of the bloodstain is Marley van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto, DNA report of 29 May 2015, paragraph 4.1.7 refers. Point B14 on photos 55, 59 and 60, Annexure A. Spatter bloodstains are observed on tiled floor in passageway in front of Rudy and Henry van Breda's bedroom door on the first floor of the house. The spatter bloodstains are described as elliptical shaped bloodstains with a radiating distribution pattern. The spatter bloodstains are further classified as an impact spatter pattern. The bloodstains suggest impact as the possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 60. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of force resulting in a breakup of blood into small droplets traveling through the air and impacting with the tiled floor. The impact angles and directionality of the spatter suggest that the accumulating blood in front of the bedroom door received some force for the blood to be broken up into blood droplets and impacting with the floor nearby. The bloodstains were marked for identification as B14 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock. The donor of these bloodstains are Marley van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto, DNA report of the 29th of May 2015, paragraph 4.1.7. Point B15 of photos 43, 61, 62 and 115, Annexure A. Spatter bloodstain observed on Henry and Rudy van define exactly the mechanism responsible for the deposition. The bloodstain suggests rejection or alternatively impact. Is 1,350 millimeters. Identification as B15 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of the bloodstain is Rudy van Breda, as indicated by B16 on photo
63, 64, 65. Spatter bloodstains are observed against headboard of the victim, Rudy van der Daar's bed. The spatter bloodstains are described as circular shaped bloodstains with a radiating distributing pattern. The spatter bloodstains are further classified as an impact spatter millimeters from the floor surface. The bloodstain suggests impact as the possible deposition mechanism. See photographs 70 to 73. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of force applied to a blood source or sources on the bed, resulting in a breakup of blood into small droplets traveling through the air and impacting with the headboard upholstery, creating the bloodstains were marked for identification as B16 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of these bloodstains are Rudy van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto. DNA report of the 15 on photos 64, 65, 67, 68, 74 to 81 NHFA. Spatter bloodstains are observed against bedroom wall. The spatter bloodstains are described as circular and elliptical shaped bloodstains with a linear orientation and progressive consistent impact angle change. The spatter bloodstains are further classified as a cast-off pattern. The bloodstains suggest projection as a possible deposition mechanism. See photographs 76 and 77. The bloodstains are 1,401 mm from the floor surface. The bloodstains marked at B17 were probably created as a result of a blood-bearing object in motion. The blood drops were released, projected from an object in motion, deposited against the bedroom wall in a linear pattern, as observed. These bloodstains were marked for identification as B17 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of these bloodstains are Rudy van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto. DNA report, 15 April 2015, paragraph 4.1.1 differs. Point B17.1 of photos 78 and 79 XUA. Spatter bloodstain observed on Henry and Rudy van Breda's bedroom wall. While it's not possible to define exactly the mechanism responsible for the deposition, the circular shaped bloodstain suggests impact or alternatively projection. Point B17.2 and photos 78 and 80 on XFA. Spatter bloodstains observed on Henry and Rudy van Breda's bedroom wall. While it's not possible to define exactly the mechanism responsible for the deposition, the circular shaped bloodstain suggests impact or alternatively projection. The same will be for point B17.3 on photograph 78.
bloodstains at points B17.1, B17.2, B17.3, see photograph 78 to 81, were probably created as a result of force applied to a blood source, resulting in a breakup of blood into small droplets traveling through the air and impacting the bedroom wall adjacent to the
Breda's bed, creating spatter. All the bloodstains were created as a result of a blood-bearing object in motion. The blood drops were released, projected from an object in motion and deposited against the bedroom wall. Point B18 on photos 64, 65, 66, 68, 82 and 86 of NHFA. Spatter bloodstains are observed against bedroom wall next to headboard of the victim, Rudy van Breda's bed. The spatter bloodstains are described as elliptical shaped bloodstains with a radiating distribution pattern. The spatter bloodstains are further classified as an impact spatter pattern. The bloodstains are 1,685 millimeters from the floor surface. The average impact angles of 5 individual well-defined spatter bloodstains within the impact spatter pattern is 32.80 degrees. The bloodstain suggests impact as the possible deposition mechanism. See photographs 83 to 86. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of force applied to a blood source on the bed, resulting in a breakup of blood into small droplets traveling through the air and impacting with the bedroom wall, creating an impact spatter pattern. The bloodstains were marked for identification as B18 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of these bloodstains are already from Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto, DNA report of the 15th of April 2015, paragraph 4.1.1 refers. Point 19 on photos 87 to 91 of NHRA.
Non-spattered bloodstains is observed on the bedroom floor between Judy and Hamilton and Charles' beds. The non-spattered bloodstain is described as an irregular shaped bloodstain, no recognizable pattern in the bloodstain, and with lateral movement visible within the bloodstain.
The non-spattered bloodstain is further classified as a swipe pattern. The bloodstain suggests contact as a possible deposition mechanism. See photographs 87 to 89. The bloodstain was most probably created as a result of contact between a bloodstained object and a carpet, with movement of the object over the carpet surface resulting in the creation of the swipe pattern in the direction of the wooden floor. The bloodstain was marked for identification as B19 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of the bloodstain is really from Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto, DNA report of 15 April 2015, paragraph 4.1.1 refers. Point B20 on photos 92 to 95, 103, 156 to 161 NHA. Non-spattered bloodstains are observed on the bedroom floor of Relief and Henry from Breda's bedroom. The non-spattered bloodstains are further classified as a complex pattern. The following bloodstain patterns were observed within the area of point B20. Point B21, point B21 on photograph 156. Non-spattered bloodstains further classified as a pool. The bloodstain suggests volume accumulation as a possible deposition mechanism. See photographs 92, 94, and 156. The bloodstain was probably created as a result of blood accumulating during bloodshed. Point B22 on photo 157 NHLA, non-spattered bloodstains are described as irregular shaped bloodstains, no recognizable pattern in the bloodstains, and with lateral movement visible within the bloodstains. The non-spattered bloodstains are further classified as swipe patterns. The bloodstain suggests contact as a possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 157. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of contact between bloodstained object or objects and the bedroom floor with lateral movement. Point B23 on photo 158 of NHA. Non-spattered bloodstains are described as irregular shaped bloodstains. No recognizable pattern in the bloodstains, with pre-existing bloodstains and with lateral movement visible within the bloodstains. The non-spattered bloodstains are further classified as white patterns. The bloodstains suggest contact as a possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 150. Probably created as a result of contact between objects or objects and the bloodstain. Point B24 on photos 159, 160, 161 HLA, blood clots present within bloodstains observed. The donor of the bloodstains at point B20 is Rudy van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto, DNA report 29 of May 2015, paragraph 4.1.1 refers. Point B21 on photos 92, 93, 95, 96, and 98 of NHA. Non-spatter blood stain observed against bedroom wall of Henry and Rudy van der Daar's bedroom. The non-spatter blood stain is described as an irregular shaped blood stain, no recognizable pattern in the blood stain and with lateral movement visible within the blood stain. The non-spatter blood stain is further classified as a swipe pattern. The blood stain suggests contact as a possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 98. The most plausible explanation for the creation of the blood stain observed is that the blood-stained hair of the victim, Rudy van Breda, or a hair-like object covered with the victim, Rudy van Breda's blood, made contact with the bedroom wall, resulting in the creation of the swipe pattern. The blood stain was marked for identification as B21 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of the blood stain is Rudy van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto's DNA report of 15th of April 2015, paragraph 4.1.1 refers. B22 on photos 92, 93, 95, 97 and 99, Annexure A, non-spatter bloodstains observed against bedroom wall of Henry and Rudy van Breda's bedroom. The non-spatter bloodstains are described as irregular shaped bloodstains, no recognizable pattern in the bloodstains, volume in the bloodstains, and with lateral movement visible within the bloodstain. Non-spatter bloodstains are further classified as a white pattern. The bloodstain suggests contact as a possible deposition mechanism. See photographs 99. The most plausible explanation for the creation of the bloodstains are that bloodstained hair of the victim Rudy van Breda or a hair-like object covered with the victim Rudy van Breder's blood made contact with the bedroom wall, resulting in the creation of the swipe pattern. The bloodstains were marked for identification as B22 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of the bloodstains are Rudy van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst. Point 1 refers. Point B23 on photographs 92, 100 to 102, Annexure A. Non-spatter bloodstain observed on Rudy van Breda's back, posterior. The bloodstain is described as a regular shaped bloodstain indicating recognizable characteristics and partial image of the source object which created the non-spatter bloodstain observed. The non-spatter bloodstain is further classified as a pattern transfer. The bloodstain identified suggests contact as a possible deposition mechanism. See photographs 101 and 102. The bloodstain was probably created as a result of contact between a bloodstained object and the back of Rudy van Breda, resulting in the creation of the pattern transfer. The bloodstain was marked for identification and documentation as B23 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. Point B24 on photos 104 to 114 of Annexure A. Spatter bloodstains are observed against the staircase wall. The spatter bloodstains are described as bloodstains with a linear orientation with no evident flows in the individual bloodstains and progressive The bloodstains are 1,449 millimeters from the floor surface. The bloodstain suggests projection as a possible deposition mechanism. See photograph 107. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of a blood-bearing object in motion, striking the staircase wall. A linear pattern, namely a castle pattern, was created during motion with cessation castle when the object came to an abrupt stop. The entire pattern is 622 millimeters in length. The bloodstains were marked for identification as B24 and sampled for biological analysis. The donor of these bloodstains are Rudy van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto. Paragraph 4.1.1 refers. Only one sample was obtained from top of the bloodstain pattern and not representative samples from the entire bloodstain pattern. B25 on photos 115 to 117 of amateur A. Spatter bloodstains observed against passageway wall next to window. Individual well-defined spattered bloodstains of 32.35 millimeters from the floor surface. While it's not possible to define exactly the mechanism responsible for the deposition, the bloodstain should impact, see photograph 117. The bloodstains were marked for identification and microscopic for biological analysis. From Breda and Martin from Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto, DNA 4.1.1 and 4.1.25 refers. Exhibit 96, mixture of Exhibit 98, Rudy from Breda. Point to B26 on photos 115, 116 and 100. Bloodstains observed against patches by wall next to window. The impact angle of the individual well-defined degrees. The bloodstain is 1,437 millimeters from the floor surface. Position. The bloodstain suggests rejection or alternatively impact. See photograph 108. Is B26 and sampled by Sergeant Microscopic for biological analysis. And paragraph 4. B27 of photos 150. Spatter bloodstains observed against the wall. The average impact angle of these three spatter bloodstains are 1,350 millimeters from the floor surface. Deposition. The bloodstain suggests projection or see photograph 119. The bloodstains were and sampled by Sergeant Microscopic for biological Teresa from Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel 2015, paragraph 4.1.5 refers. Point B28 on photos 115, 120, 121 and 122 annexure A. Spatter bloodstain observed against patches by wall next to Henry and Rudy van der Daal's bedroom door. The bloodstain is 400 millimeters from the floor surface. While it's not possible to define exactly the mechanism responsible for the deposition as the possible deposition mechanisms. See photograph 122. The creation of the bloodstain is likely a result of insignificant force applied to a blood source, resulting in a breakup of blood into a droplet traveling through the air and impacting with the passageway wall, or when the blood drop was released or projected from an object contaminated with blood during slight movement of object. And sampled by Sergeant Microscopic for biological analysis. Point B29 on photos 123 and 124, annexure A. Spatter blood stain is observed against the wall and passageway on the first floor of the house. The blood stain is 1,800 millimeters from the floor surface. The impact angle of the individual well-defined spatter blood stain is 28.34 degrees. This impact as a possible deposition mechanism, see photograph 124. The blood stain identified was probably created as a result of force applied to a blood source, resulting in a breakup of blood into small blood drops traveling through the air and impacting with the wall. The impact angle and directionality of the spatter suggests that the spatter blood stain may have originated from the same blood source as described as point B11. By Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. B30 on photographs 125, 126, and HLA. Spatter bloodstains are observed on shelf of cabinet in the passageway. The spatter bloodstains are described as circular and elliptical shaped bloodstains with a radiating distribution pattern. The spatter bloodstains are further classified as cessation cast. Impact angles of 5 individual well-defined spatter bloodstains are 33 to 60. The bloodstains suggest injection as a possible deposition. See photograph 126. The bloodstains are 380 millimeters from the floor surface. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of an object in motion. Blood drops to be released projected from an object and impacting for identification as B50 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of these bloodstains are Marley van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto, DNA report 15 of April 2015. Paragraph 4.1.5 refers. Point B51 on photographs 127 and 128 and A. Spatter bloodstains are observed against the bedroom wall of Henry and Rudy van Breda's bedroom. The spatter bloodstains are described as elliptical shaped bloodstains. The marked bloodstain is 590 millimeters from the floor surface. The average impact angle of the two well-defined spatter bloodstains are 24.075 degrees. While it's not possible to define exactly the mechanism responsible for the deposition, the bloodstain suggests impact. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of force applied to a blood source, resulting in a breakup of blood into small the wall. The impact angle and directionality of the spatter suggests the spatter most probably originated from an area on the bed of Rudy van Breda. The bloodstain was marked for identification as B51 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of the bloodstain is Rudy van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto, DNA report of the 15th of April 2015. Paragraph 4.1.1 refers. Point B32 on photo 131 and 132 in Exhibit A. Non-spatter bloodstains observed on the side of the bed of Rudy van Breda. Described as irregular shaped bloodstains, no recognizable pattern in the bloodstains, and with lateral movement visible within the bloodstains. The non-spatter bloodstains identified suggest contact as a possible deposition mechanism. See photographs 131 and 132. The bloodstains are 280 millimeters from the floor surface. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of contact between the bloodstained hand and the side. Bloodstains were marked for identification and documentation as B32 and sampled by Sergeant Hitchcock for biological analysis. The donor of these bloodstains are Rudy van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto, DNA report on 15th of April 2015. Paragraph 4.1.1 refers. Photographs 131 and 132 was changed to grayscale to better contrast between surface and bloodstains. Point B33 on photos 90, 129, 133, 134, 135, and 136. NHLA, non-spatter bloodstains observed on the side of the bed of Rudy van Breda. The non-spatter bloodstains are described as irregular shaped bloodstains, no recognizable pattern in the bloodstains, and with lateral movement visible within the bloodstains. Non-spatter bloodstains are further classified as swipe patterns. The bloodstains identified suggest contact as a possible deposition mechanism. See photographs 145 and 136. The bloodstains are 250 millimeters from the floor surface. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of contact between a bloodstained hand and the side of the bed, resulting in blood being transferred. The bloodstains were marked for identification and documentation as B33, and some of these bloodstains are already from Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto. DNA report of 15 April 2015, paragraph 4.1.1 refers. Photograph 136 was changed to grayscale to better contrast between surface and bloodstains. Point B34 on photographs 137 to 139 NHLA. Spatter bloodstain observed against the adjacent house wall near security gate. The spatter bloodstain is described as an elliptical shaped bloodstain. The bloodstain is 753 millimeters from the ground surface. The impact angle of the individual spatter bloodstain is 11.81 degrees. While it's not possible to define exactly the mechanism responsible for the deposition, the bloodstain suggests impact or alternatively drip. See photograph 139. The bloodstain was marked for identification as B34 and sampled by Sergeant. The donor of the bloodstain is Rudy van der Daa, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto. DNA report of 15 of April 2015, paragraph 4.1.1 refers. Point B35 of 137, 138, and 140 spattered bloodstain is observed against the adjacent wall. Near security gate, the meters from the ground surface. The impact angle of the individual spatter is 11.51 degrees. While it's not possible to define exactly the mechanism responsible for the deposition, the bloodstain suggests impact or alternatively drip. See photographs 140. The bloodstain was marked for identification as B35 and sampled by Sergeant Microscopic for biological analysis. Point B36 on photograph 147, 148, 149, 150, and 153 NHLA. Void was observed on Henry van der Daa's bed. There is an absence of spatter in an otherwise continuous blood-stained area. The void was most probably created by the pressure which was removed after bloodshed. Point B37 on photographs 149, 150, 151, 152, 154, and 155 NHLA. Spatter bloodstains observed on Henry van der Daa's bed sheet, pillow, and laptop. The spatter bloodstains are circular and elliptical in shape, randomly distributed over the top surface of bed. While it's not possible to define exactly the mechanism responsible for impact, see photographs 149 to 152 and 154 and 155. The bloodstains were probably created as a result of a blood-bearing object in motion. The blood drops were released, projected from the object in motion and deposited on the bed sheet, pillow, and laptop as observed. All bloodstains were probably created as a result of force applied to a blood source or source through the air and impacting with the surface on the bed of Henry van der Daa. The bloodstains were marked for identification as B37 and not sampled. Point B38.1 to B38.7 on photographs 162 to 174 HLA. Point B38.1 on photographs on bed sheet within saturation, bloodstains on bed of Rudy van der Daa observed. B38.2 on photograph 165, blood clot on bed sheet. Point B38.3 on photographs 166, 167, 168, 169. of the domestic dog next to it ready from the dog's bed. Point B, 58.4, 167, 169, 160, and 172 blood clots observed again. 58.5, photographs 166, 167, 169, 170. Blood clot observed on knife blade partially underneath ready from the dog's bed. Photographs 171 and 173. Blood clots observed on side of B58.7 on photograph 174. Blood clots observed on the side of ready from the dog's bed. Paragraph 11. On the 30th of January 2015, the following invisible after applying a chemical reagent blue star, which requires the skills in biology to detect possible microscopic invisible blood. I requested Sergeant Isco to document the blood, the possible blood that was taken, the nature and position of the invisible microscopic blood was taken. The following areas reacted positive for possible blood, namely 11.1 photographs 141 handle on the outside. Photographs 143, 144, 145, and HLA, possible blood detected on shower tap and again shower wall above shower tap. Photograph 145, NHFA, possible blood detected against shower wall underneath shower head. 11.4, photograph 146, NHLA, possible blood detected on shower floor where wall and floor meet. The donors of the blood stain is Teresa, Henry, and Judy van Breda, as indicated by DNA analyst Lieutenant Colonel Charlene Otto DNA report of 15th of April 2015. Paragraph 4.1.19 refers. So February Downey van the West Station attached to the Provincial Task Team, Cape Town, at 12 Gosker Street, the Salsa Golf Estate, Stellenbosch. These crimes and images were captured by Sergeant Kleinhans before victims took medical attention from EMS personnel on the 27th of January 2015. On the 16th of February, images captured by Sergeant Hitchcock, crime scene technician attached to the Provincial Task Team in Worcester, assigned to the documentation Stellenbosch. Paragraph 13. On the 19th of February 2013, Unit Administration Department containing exhibits for bloodstain pattern analysis. One forensic evidence bag of serial number PAB 000208574 inter alia marked 15, entry 6, Stellenbosch CAS 15, CSIIR number 03/2015, Paul LCLC Sergeant Oliphant, murder. Photographs 1 to 3 of NHB containing the following. One forensic evidence bag of serial number PAB 00209341. Inter alia marked PAR LCLC 597/01/2015 Stellenbosch 645/01/2015. Photographs 4 to 6 of NHB containing the following. One sharp and dangerous item collection kit of serial number 14DFAB 4817, seal broken, containing one contaminated with possible blood. Photograph 7 to 9 of NHLA. Paragraph 14. On the 19th of February 2015, I received the following sealed exhibit from Biology Unit, Administration Department, Forensic Science Laboratory, Particle of Cape Town, containing exhibits for bloodstain pattern analysis. One forensic evidence bag with seal number PAB 00020934 inter alia Mark Stellenbosch murder, CAS 645/01/2050, photographs 1 to 3 of NHRC, containing the following. One forensic evidence bag with seal number PAD 00087844 inter alia Mark exhibits 120. Stellenbosch CAS 645/01/2015 SCP-13/159/2015, photograph 4 of NHRC, containing the following. One grey with blue Nike label, made in China, 100% cotton fabric construction, knitted, inter alia marked exhibit 120. One forensic evidence bag with seal number PAD 0008784445 inter alia marked Stellenbosch CAS 645/01/2015 SCP-13/159/2015 exhibit 119 photographs 1 to 3 of NHD containing the following. One pair of white socks inter alia marked exhibit. One forensic evidence bag with seal number PW 30002606632 inter alia marked 2015/01/30 118 photographs 1 to 3 of NHD containing the following. One great towel inter alia marked exhibit 118. One forensic evidence bag with seal number PW 30002605583 inter alia marked Stellenbosch CAS 645/01/2015 2015 stroke exhibit 124. Photograph 1 of NHRF containing the following. One blue t-shirt inter alia marked exhibit 124. On the 20th of February 2015, the X inter alia marked exhibit 6, mentioned in paragraph 13.1.1.1, was examined in the evidence recovery laboratory biology unit, Western Cape. After making my own observations, I documented the X exhibit 6 by means of photographs and processed the X for possible blood. Of Annexure B, I've identified and collected the following possible blood after documenting their nature and position. 6A, photograph 24, Annexure B, one swab containing possible blood removed. 6A, the swab was placed inside an envelope inter alia marked 6A. Exhibit Annexure B, one swab containing possible blood removed from wooden handle of X inter alia marked 6C on photographs 24 and Annexure B, one swab containing possible blood removed from X blade inter an envelope inter alia marked 6C. Exhibit 6D on photograph 24 Annexure B, one swab containing possible blood removed from X blade inter alia marked 6D. The swab was placed inside an envelope inter alia marked 6D. Exhibit 6E on photograph 25 Annexure B, one swab containing possible blood removed from X wooden handle inter alia marked 6E. The swab was placed inside an envelope inter alia marked 6E. Exhibit one swab containing possible blood removed from X wooden handle close to X blade inter alia marked 6F. The swab was placed inside an envelope inter alia marked 6F. Exhibit 6G on photograph 25, Annexure B. One swab containing inter alia marked 6G. The blood, the swab was placed inside an envelope inter alia marked 6G. Exhibit 6H on photograph 25, Annexure B. One swab containing possible blood removed from an encapsulating area marked 6H. The swab was placed inside an envelope in area marked 6H. Paragraph 16. The swabs collected from Exhibit 6, mentioned in paragraph 15.1 to 15.8, were sealed inside forensic evidence bag with seal number PA 400127537, inter alia marked Stellenbosch gas 645 stroke 01 stroke 2015 6A to 6H. Paragraph 17. The X inter alia marked Exhibit 6 was resealed in sharp and dangerous items collection kit seal number 14DF-AB4817, which in turn was sealed in forensic evidence bag with seal number PAB 0001309 marked Stellenbosch gas 645 stroke 01 stroke 2015 Exhibit 6. The forensic evidence bag with seal number PAB 000130973 containing Exhibit 6 was further sealed in forensic evidence bag with seal number PAB 000202301 inter alia marked Stellenbosch gas 645 stroke 01 stroke 2015. Paragraph 26 of Annexure B. The X inter alia marked Exhibit 6 was secured in sharp and dangerous items collection kit with seal number 14DFAB 4817. Paragraph 27 of Annexure B. The sharp and dangerous items collection kit with seal number 14DFAB 4817 was sealed with evidence tamper-proof seals. Photographs 28 and 29 of Annexure B. The sharp and dangerous items collection kit with seal number 14DFAB 4817 was sealed in forensic evidence bag with seal number PAB 000130973, inter alia marked Stellenbosch gas 645 stroke 01 stroke 2015 Exhibit 6. Paragraph 18. During the course of my duties on the 20th of February 2015, I handed in sealed evidence bag with seal number PAB 0002301 inter alia marked Stellenbosch gas 645 stroke 01 stroke 2015 to the administrative component of the Forensic Science Laboratory Ballistic Unit for further analysis, containing the exhibit mentioned in paragraph 17. Paragraph the grey short inter alia marked Exhibit 120 mentioned in paragraph 14.1.1.1 was examined in the evidence recovery laboratory biology unit Western Cape. After making my own observation, I documented the grey short inter alia marked Exhibit 120 by means of photographs. Photographs were attached. Annexure C, photographs 1 to 191. I have identified and collected the following possible bloodstains from the grey after documenting their nature and position, namely. During my examination of multiple bloodstains on frontal aspect of grey short where spatter bloodstains were identified and documented. The spatter bloodstains were photographed with macro characteristics. The photographs were examined and the spatter bloodstains indicated full penetration of the fabric knit by the blood during deposition. The full versus partial or topical penetration deposition of the blood on fabric is a criteria used to assist in differentiating between spatter and non-spatter bloodstains. The spatter bloodstains size, shape, and position suggest impact as the possible result of force applied to a blood source or sources, resulting in a breakup of blood into small droplets traveling through the air and impacting with the grey shot into area marked exhibit 120. The identified bloodstains were marked for identification and sampled as follows.
If I may interrupt the witness at this point in time, maybe to give his voice a break. If we adjourn for the lunch adjournment, and maybe if Advocate Breda doesn't object, if the witness doesn't need to refer to each reference number, I don't think that is really in dispute. If we can just give the salient points of each, it will shorten. We will discuss it with you.
Whether would not object, we would be very pleased if we could do that.
Yes, okay, we'll sort that out. Court adjournment, court question.